There we go. So what kind of van did you get, Barry?
What?
What kind of van is it?
Your usual, your average mid height transit van.
When you say mid-height, can you stand up inside of it?
Yeah, there's three levels. The first one is like a regular van. The second one is the mid level. You can stand up it, and the tall one is well, taller. Yeah, you can stand up in it.
That's cool.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. I better concentrate on talking or driving or one of the two, or both. So it's got all this stuff on it that I haven't figured out yet, but it's pretty cool. It's nice to join the real world.
Now you can fill it with ceramics.
It's
The
got
real world is
fire.
overrated.
Did you say the world is over?
No, overrated.
Well, if you extrapolate that from it, then you're not wrong. But anyway, I said the real world is overrated.
Oh, you think?
But it's nice that you're enjoying your van. So
What about the fantasy world?
I don't know.
Well, that was another T-shirt saying, it says, I've abandoned my search for reality and I'm now looking for a good fantasy.
Katie, I thought you lived the fantasy. You live in the fantasy
that way.
world.
Here
Don't
it
you
is.
live in
Winter and tropical fruit are ripening. So
What kind of tropical, do you have tropical fruit in your garden?
well, the bananas there, that's my backyard.
Mm-hmm.
I have guavas in the front yard that are starting to drop. There's
Uh-huh.
an orange tree behind the bananas. I have pomegranates going. Those are
Nice.
desert. I have dragon fruit.
I bet you can't eat regular bananas because yours are so much better.
Well, they're very rare.
Oh, okay.
First year we've gotten more than a couple.
Oh, are they the little kind or are they?
No, these are a different one than the commercial type.
Mm-hmm.
They're fatter.
Uh-huh.
They have a different flavor. I don't know how you would describe it as, but it's not the same.
Right.
So
Probably more, I would imagine more flavor just in general.
Well, that may be from letting them ripen on the plant. But,
Mm-hmm.
Like plantains.
no, it doesn't taste like plantains either. But these are sort of shaped like them, a little bit shorter than the plant, or at least than the plantains that we get at the markets here.
I remember having strawberry bananas. They were called that. They were short bananas in
Yeah,
Hawaii. And they didn't really taste like strawberries, but they were just so delicious. Just,
Yeah,
much more full of flavor.
the Asian markets have other bananas at them, including those little, I guess they're about 3 inches long, 4 inches long.
Uh-huh.
And they've had what they just call them red bananas, and there's something called apple banana.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have the plantains there too. But it varies what time of year what's in.
Right. Well, that's nice that you can grow those things there. If anything, even like the dragon fruit for the novelty.
Yeah, well, dragon fruit is being imported here and it's in the markets, but the problem with the market ones is that they're picked underripe, and once they don't ripen.
Right.
So, it's a, I don't know, spectacular look in the fruit bowl or whatever, but that's about it.
Yep, they are gorgeous looking.
But I have I don't know how many types now, but I have 3 different ones plus this unknown type that's ripening at the moment.
My
The
parents always,
unknown one is used by commercial cactus growers as a base for those irradiated cacti that they sell in stores.
Oh,
Or like a ball that's red or yellow or something on top.
mhm.
It can't
Hmm.
grow by itself, but
Ah,
if grafted to a other cactus, it'll stay alive.
mhm.
that's the way they do a lot of the pecan trees in my area. The native pecans are
Oh.
really small, but they graft them. They graft them. They graft some other kind onto the native pecans here, and they do really well. But by themselves, they don't do well here, and the ones that are here are really small. So they graft them and get really good ones.
They grow them here also in New Mexico.
I think
Certain
most
types.
commercial type food trees are grafted for one reason or another. My pomegranate tree isn't, but that's because they're practically weeds and you don't need to. But roses and, any of the stone fruit and most of the citrus are all grafted. My loquat tree isn't grafted either. That was grown from a seed. And I think my guava tree was grown from a branch. They rooted a branch.
Mhm. I think Meyer lemons are a hybrid fruit,
Yeah,
planted like in the 30s or so, all over. Well, I'm sure you have them down there too, all over the Bay Area.
yeah.
But I have a Meyer lemon tree that it was very healthy, but we didn't do well with it. But now, like after almost a year, we're kind of learning, and there's one piece of fruit on it that is taking forever to turn yellow. But at least now it looks healthy and it has new growth, and so it needed coffee because the water here.
Yeah,
Let's see, what is coffee? Coffee, does that add alkalides? Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And
New Mexico, Arizona have problems with alkaline soil.
okay.
So
And I think it's the water too. Maybe you know more than I do about that.
if it's a semi-dwarf, you can put it in a large pot.
It is. It's in a pot. It lived outside in the summer, and now it's got to stay inside. But there are some types of fig trees that could be outside, I've learned.
Well, I don't have any that can be rolled in really. And nowhere to put them inside anyway. If we're, somebody predicts a frost coming, which we do get every once in a while, we just throw shade cloth over them to kind of protect them.
Are you inland or closer to the ocean?
We're in between what they call inland and coast.
Okay.
So
you get fog then?
We get fog some days,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get heat like inland gets some other days. So what we do is we view both weather reports for the coast and inland, and
Right.
take your choice.
Right.
And hope the Santa
I
Anas
want
don't blow you into the
pomegranates.
ocean.
What?
Hope the Santa Anas don't blow you into the ocean.
They're usually partially blocked by mountains, but if they're coming down from the north, we get them. Just depends which way they're blowing. We had some last week, so we had extra high temps, at least during the day.
hmm
but it was dropping into the 40s at night. You know, 80s during the day and 40s at night. So my spring flowers are starting to bloom.
Wow. Yeah.
Narcissus-
We've had similar temperature through the fall, 70s during the day and 40s at night, but now it's 60s during the day. So it's
Right now it's almost 80,
uh
but starting tomorrow it's supposed to be low 70s for like 3 or 4 days because it's supposed to rain.
oh. Well, it's always good when it's gonna rain. If it
Well,
does.
if it does.
Right, right.
Looks like San Francisco's getting more of it. So
Ah.
and luckily I have no shows to haul stuff in and out of during those times.
hmm
Except, well, the Bead Society one is like, you know, show and sell, which is show and tell plus sell your extra supplies if you want to.
Ah. When is that?
Saturday,
Ah.
the last day of the predicted rain.
hmm
So, who got into Fort Worth?
I didn't apply.
I didn't either.
And I didn't get in, and Oscar didn't get in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why you have to be sorry? It's no big deal.
Well, you know,
It's
it's
only
nice
once
to
in a while.
get in.
Hell yes.
So I honestly think that you apply to the shows you want to apply. You get to the shows that you get in. You get disappointed when you get to you get rejected from a good show that you've done before, but you know, you move on. There's no point to dwell
Oh,
about
of course. But still, you know, I'm just expressing my condolences.
it.
Yeah,
It's nothing to do.
condolences accepted.
Mhm.
I did apply to South Lake and Cottonwood just for the hell of it.
So, have
Just
you
for
done
the-
those?
Never. And I probably won't do them this time either.
I have those,
I just applied for the option of it.
Mhm. I have those on my list. Like just as I have an Excel spreadsheet, you know, whenever people talk about a show and I look it up, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, what do I want to keep on my radar? But you know, it's so hard to know. I mean, in 2021, I did maybe 4 shows, but they were all really good.
Yeah.
But you can't, you know, you have to do more shows because you don't know how it's going to go.
There's, I don't remember if it's Cottonwood or I think it's Cottonwood. After about 7 years of getting nowhere, I just quit applying.
Right. That's very frustrating.
And then people told me I should start applying again because the lady that was running it was actually who was also made the decisions on who got in, and that she was not there anymore. So I should try again.
hmm
Are you?
Not really.
And is that the one in the Dallas area or is that the
Yeah.
other one?
Yeah,
Who is that, Sari?
yeah.
I mean,
She's
because
a
I
nice
see it,
lady to be, but
I see a lot of
Again-
people here from Texas. So I always just wonder.
you know, Cottonwood has never been a super great show, but it's not a bad show. It's just right in the middle.
Uh-huh.
South
Okay.
Lake, depending what you have, it could be really, really good. But
mhm.
Cottonwood is not a show that you want to go just for Cottonwood. I can tell you that for sure.
Ah,
I've had people tell me the spring show's a lot better than the fall show.
Yeah, the spring show is much better because in the fall you're dealing with Sunday college football, and then Saturday you got the Dallas Cowboys playing.
Oh.
So it's a mixed bag of situation. But you're never going to do horrible, but you're not going to do
So
super great
Cottonwood
either.
in Texas?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. 'Cause
It's
I
the
know
same
Cottonwood,
weekend.
Arizona, but
It's the same weekend as Brookside in Kansas City.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And so, and there's a May,
Mhm.
which would be Brookside, Artisphere, and Art on the Square, Belleville,
Where's Art?
Illinois.
Where's Artisphere?
Belleville, Illinois.
Artisphere.
Oh,
Artisphere,
Artisphere,
South
Greenville,
Carolina.
Greenville, South
Green-
Carolina.
East
Oh,
Coast.
oh.
It's one of the
Greenville,
good ones.
South. Really?
Yeah.
Like the only good one in South Carolina.
Yeah. It's fun.
Hmm.
Although I spend time in Hilton Head and I'd love to move there.
I remember you keep saying that.
I know. I'm repeating myself. That's
No, that's okay. I mean, was there a show in Hilton Head?
no.
Oh, it was just nearby.
Well, an photographer that did it for a long time, Paul Schatz, lives there, and he's a friend of mine. I don't know if you guys know him, but
We met
He's a
him 2
photographer.
weeks ago.
what?
We met him 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you're
yeah.
right.
Yeah, he joined the group.
Yeah. Oh, right. That's right. That guy. Yeah. Duh.
Hey, Barry,
Hey, Woody.
who hacked your messenger on Facebook?
What happened?
Somebody hacked your messenger on Facebook.
That's old news. That was like 2 months ago. They're still trying to scam people.
Yeah, I just ask them what Raku is every time they post and they go away.
You think the guy would give up?
Laura,
Actually,
how was the caller?
I'm the one that should give up. I should drop Facebook. It's annoying.
He wants me to get an $800,000 community grant.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, ask him where he wants to send the money to.
Oh, yeah. So I put my work in a gallery. During Open Studios, a gallery owner came to see me, and then I went to go see her space and all that. And I don't really work with many galleries. I mean, I don't have any others right now except for Artful Home. And I mean, I liked her space a lot. There's not that much jewelry there. There's maybe 2 potters. There's a glass artist, some sculpture. So it looks nicely curated, the beautiful space. So we both hope that she could actually sell my work. And I also like her business practices. She said that it's consignments, of course. And she said every month, whether I sell something or not, I'll get a report. And she had a contract for me to sign, very reasonable contract. And so, yeah, so we're both hoping it works out. And she's also a jeweler, so she understands my process. So I gave her like 20 pieces, and it seems like it's a good time of year for, pardon? I thought I heard someone say something.
No, I coughed.
Anyway, it's a good time of year for me to, I tend to hoard my work and not want to do that. But, aside from these artist markets and just being open and emails, it's a good time for me to put work somewhere else. So between now and like March or April. I'll see how it goes. And it's on Kenyon Road, which is the fancy street. People go there from all over. So
You know, if they show your work, they'll sell it.
it doesn't always happen.
Well,
But
I
I-
mean, there'll be a certain percentage. All they have to do is show it. You know, that's what I found. When you have a gallery,
work
you show
doesn't-
the work.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel good about the relationship, the communication, and that she understands my work. So, you know, we both feel like there's the possibility. And so I'll see. But, you know, other places show my work, have showed my work, and, you know, it doesn't sell. But also, she doesn't only have jewelry, which is, there's only like 3 or 4 jewelers there. And she has relationships with all of them. So I like that kind of thing, that she knows all the artists that she carries and can speak about their work. And so, you know, I like her whole where she's coming from, and
Yeah. That's important.
Mhm.
You know, the relationship is important.
very. But and I think we've talked about this before. There used to be craft galleries where you would find woodworking, ceramics, glass, and jewelry. Where
Yeah, we
now it's like, you know, places are just jewelry galleries, so it's all jewelers. And you know, a lot of people really don't know what art jewelry is and still think of the traditional jewelry. So, you know, the serendipity of the traditional craft shop, I liked that kind of model. I don't know why it went by the wayside.
Well, I can tell you about one
Mhm.
case. There
Mhm.
used to be a gallery called the Clay Pot in Brooklyn, in Park
Okay.
Slope in Brooklyn, and they
Sounds
had
familiar.
all different, you know, mediums of 3D, and but so half their inventory was jewelry,
Hmm.
and then eventually they dumped everything except for jewelry. They became a jewelry store
Oh, interesting.
of artwork, one of a kind artwork,
Right.
jewelry, because that's what sold. That's where they made money. So,
Uh-huh.
you know, because jewelry sells before anything else.
Well,
I know that. Listen, half our inventory was jewelry. I know because I kept track of it.
right. I understand that. It's just my jewelry is not so easy.
Yeah, well, it's one of a
So
kind, but it's special.
it's its own thing. Like, people either like it or they don't, which is totally fine. But you know, it's not exactly, you know, if you were to look up jewelry in the dictionary, you wouldn't see a picture of my work.
Yeah, well, you see some commercial thing.
So
Um,
anyway, I would be thrilled if this works out.
okay, this is kind of how this works. It would be like before Valentine's Day or before Christmas, let's say, because that's coming up, or Hanukkah. Um, some guy would come in and said, "I want a piece of jewelry for my wife," and I'd ask him, "Well, how much you want to spend?" And then I'd show him, you know, 4, 5, 6 things in that price range, and they'd pick something out.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe one upsell, you know, an upsell, because I have a feeling your work's more expensive than that. And there are guys that want to spend that, you know, not to be sexist or anything, but
Well,
you know,
I do find
it's easier to
that.
sell.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's easy to sell something to a guy than, you know, a woman who's going to wear it might be more critical because she's going to wear it. A guy is just going to, you know, he wants something nice to please his wife. If any of that makes any sense.
Well, listen, I've had men come into my studio, love my work, and say, but my wife wants this, chunky gold whatever thing from Neiman Marcus, or so. But I find a lot of women buy.
I can't hear.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
You're cutting out, but that's okay. I can hear you
Okay.
now.
Oh, I was just saying that I do think a lot of women buy for themselves, and when they look at my work, they're not really buying a gift. But the holidays, it's not a big sales time for me. Usually it's maybe like a couple of custom pieces, or somebody might contact, but it's not a major time of year for me. But plenty of women buy my work. Although, I mean, I have someone coming over on Thursday. It's a couple of men, and he wanted to come by when the boyfriend isn't around. And so, like, there's this article that piece of mine was in this magazine, and it says 15, I don't know, jewelers for women. And I'm not going to correct them, but the thing is, I mean, if a man wants to buy my work, they can. I mean, it's somebody who wears jewelry, so I don't want to leave people out.
Well, wouldn't sizing come into question if it was for men?
Well, like with a pendant, it would be just the chain length. Yeah.
But like a bracelet or a cuff type thing, you'd have to make that another inch or so larger.
Depending on the bracelet that I have, when I'm making a bracelet, and they're usually hinged, my bracelets, I'm guessing at how long to make them because I don't know. And the person that buys it, whether they're a man or a woman, I usually have to make larger or smaller anyway. So I just tell people, I can modify it, whatever they need. And, unless it's custom, then I could make the right size. But I'm making a bracelet right now, but it's just something I'm making for my stock. So I don't know how long to make it. And that's what happened this summer. Somebody wanted a bracelet. It needed one more link. But I'll offer to do that without an extra charge, because I figure, I might have made the bracelet longer anyway. And so, I mean, men have bought single earrings from me, but those they usually have to order because I don't want to break up a pair. I'd rather just, otherwise, like, I can't guess what somebody is going to want, so I have pairs of earrings. But they can order from me. So anyway. I mean, it's, to a degree, it's a guessing game, right? We make what we envision. And so, like, Barry, even with the pots you're making, somebody might want something really huge. I mean, you might be limited by the size of your kiln. I don't know. But other than that, if somebody wants something and they're willing to pay for it, I would imagine, you could accommodate that.
Oh, I'll make it. I like getting a thing afterwards, an email or a text message saying, I was there, but our house wasn't ready yet, and now I want it.
Yeah.
Or something like that,
That's
or I need
always
it bigger.
nice.
Yeah, I don't get enough of that, but I do but it surprises me.
Right. It's always a surprise. I just heard from someone a couple years ago, and I'm trying to remember which show. It was maybe Chicago. And we emailed back and forth, and then she was moving and life was stressful. I said, don't worry about it. When you're ready, get in touch with me. So she got in touch with me recently. She said, I'm not quite ready, but here's a picture of something. It's not my work, but of the ilk I'm talking about. So the conversation is still going, at least.
Well, that's good. She's thinking about you.
Right. Exactly. So, those things, they're out there, and we never know when they'll come to fruition, but
So Laura, how was your show?
It was lackluster for me.
Yeah.
I had someone on the line for $3,000 painting, and I was going to bring it to her home to see how it looked. But once you get in their home, you know, they're usually going to get it. And I called her, and she'd already bought from someone with a better known name, and that just kind of
oh,
broke my heart.
so
Oh my
Now,
God.
and I
here-
have several almost purchases that would have just made the show on, you know, on Sunday where everybody comes back, and they just didn't. I had a great time with my daughter, but I'm gonna try to have. I have several, like, I would say 2/3 of my booth is over a year old, the pieces. So I'm just gonna do a major sale and move them out and have all new work. I feel like that's the problem, is that my work is not, it's not got that magic whatever that makes somebody pull the trigger on those pieces.
but
So
how would they know? How would they know if it's new or not?
Right.
but it's because they've not been claimed. If I do a year of shows and they've not been claimed, then that piece is not magical enough. That piece doesn't have
You.
Not
whatever it is.
necessarily.
What's that?
I said not necessarily, but it's cash flow. If you don't sell it within 6 months, lower the, farm it out as in a sale. Have more than one sale. But you got to be careful, because if you have too many sales, the people just wait for the sale.
Right. So I have a question. The people that
I
were
mean,
interested that didn't buy, do you keep in touch with them? Do you?
Yeah, I do a monthly newsletter, so I tried really hard to make sure that they signed up for that. And several of them, I had their phone numbers because I was going to check back with them. And then when I checked back with them, they had gone with somebody else at the show. I mean, there's a lot of good work at that show. So it's not like, you know, there's no competition. I just feel like the pieces that I have left in my booth are there because they just haven't been magical enough yet. I you know, like, there's a reason. I don't know why, but sometimes when you make a piece, you're like, oh, that's going to sell in one.
You know, I don't know if you can do it with your work, but I got a friend that when he does got a
Quickly.
painting that's
And then
sitting.
have that magic.
She froze. No.
I think.
What I'm saying that I got a friend.
I
Yeah.
think I'm
Okay.
freezing.
I
Yeah.
got a friend that does painting. When he has a painting that doesn't sell, he takes it out, try to rework it, and then see if it's solid. Can work more in the image, so
Yeah. Yeah.
that might be another way to.
I've been doing that. Like, it has to, if it doesn't sell in a year, I rework it. So I just started. I've always done one major sale each year, but I've just started where I'm doing two. One after the
those
spring festivals and one after the winter festivals, fall
And
festivals.
those people still might buy from you, but they also might not have been ready. There's that as well.
I guarantee
Yeah.
you this is going to happen to
I
you.
mean, like,
I guarantee this is going to happen
it's-
to you
I've got
next
to say-
year.
yeah. So what I'm focusing on for next year, with the economy in mind and the election, is more smaller, less expensive pieces. So I just did a series that were just $300 each, Alice in Wonderland characters, because Alice in Wonderland is so beloved and it totally goes with my style. So I'm trying to be purposeful in how I rework the booth and how I rework, you know, I'm very prolific. So it won't be hard for me to make enough work for the booth. So it's fine. It's good to have a plan of action.
Well, I guarantee you one of those people you talk to at this show this weekend, if you do that show next year, they're going to walk into your booth and want the piece they looked at this year.
I hope so. well, I hope I don't have those pieces left, but I hope I made good connections, you know, and I'm focusing on the monthly newsletter. It's just when I totaled up this fall versus last fall, I did 2 less shows this fall. I only did 5 shows. Last fall I did 7, and I did make $500 more net profit. So that's something, doing less shows and made more money. So something I'm doing is going right. It's just not fast enough. The change is not quick enough. So,
Well, at some point you have to understand that at a certain price point, it's going to take multiple encounters with people
yeah.
to,
Exactly.
to sell.
Exactly.
People aren't going to walk in and see a $5,000 painting
I
and just say,
know.
I want it.
I couldn't
You know.
believe that one woman was about to buy that $3,000 piece. You know, to me, that blows my mind. I know there's people with a lot more money than me, but I did sell a painting the show before River Arts Fest that was 2,800, which was also my price anchor. And like, she had never seen my work before, but she just loved it. So
One of the things that helps me with higher end sales, and it may be more difficult with 2D work because for me shipping is easy, but I'll say, you know, you can put a deposit on that. And I've made sales that way. You know, it's not necessarily that someone can't afford it. It just might be their cash flow.
sure. That's a lot of money to drop. Yeah.
But if you're open to that, and then also because you send a newsletter, if you can offer free shipping, I mean, you know, I understand with what you have to ship, it may not be reasonable, but
Yeah, some of them are pricier, but I'm going to do a big sale in January. I have a solo show going on right now at a museum with this body of work, and then I just want to clean it out and just be done with it and have basically all new work for the spring
And
schedule.
how are you going to go about having a sale? I'm always curious because sales make me nervous almost.
Yeah.
Like I don't want my customers.
My monthly newsletter, I'm gonna build it up on that and just, hey, I'm willing to go 50% and just move them out. So I do that. Like I said, I've done that once a year typically, but now I'm starting
Okay.
twice.
So
And they're
what
usually,
if there are pieces that don't sell?
then I think I'll put them. I don't think I'm going to put them back in my booth if they're a year old. I can put them at a local gift shop. I could just, I don't know.
Oh, I see. Okay, you have another place you could.
Yeah, and I've done I can do auctions too. I've done a couple of auctions where people bid on things where I could just focus on 1 or 2 pieces at a time. So that was good. That's how I sold my other price anchor before these last 2, because I was tired of wrestling with it. It was 6 feet long and so heavy. I just couldn't bear to bring it to the shows anymore. It was just too awful, too heavy. So I sold it with an auction. So anyhow, my daughter and I had fun. We ate lots of good food in Pensacola. Was it in Barry? Were you going to that one? I can't remember. Did you go to the Pensacola Great Gulf Coast?
No.
Right.
No, I had some friends there, but I didn't go.
Oh yeah, a photographer. She does kind of roadside America photography. I think did that show.
Yeah, it's a good show. And they really treat you well.
I have some people who did it and disagreed that it was a good show.
Because it was so
Yeah.
dusty.
No, they just didn't. Their sales didn't cut it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've done it 3 times and my sales were not great this time. They were decent the time before. And then the first time I did it, I had applied with a different body of work and had not prepared. I had it switched in my mind which body of work I was bringing. So it was my fault. I wasn't well prepared the first time. So I like it, but you know, that's how shows are. They work for
Right.
some, not for others.
I do worry though about next year, what next year will bring. I've talked to a lot of people who this year is down. For
Yeah,
people
this year-
who've been doing
Yeah.
this for a long time. And
I haven't
Yeah,
talked to
I don't-
anybody who said this year is even equal to last year.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I have the same experience. And I know for me, it's like crickets out there the
And
last
again,
month.
I think people have really high expectations because last year was really one of the first full years after, I mean, everybody saw huge jumps in sales after COVID, and I think that it's evening out now.
Well, I have
Yeah.
to tell you, during COVID, my sales were actually really good. And it was the one time where people actually bought online from me. I had a customer all year. She had a certain cash flow, so she'd send me a series of checks, and all the entire year I made custom work for her, and it was, you know, it was great. I mean, aside from monetarily, it was enjoyable talking to her, and this, you know, she enjoyed the process. But yeah, I think people are worried, and the thing is, you know, a lot of us have customers that you know, the $300 price range is the bauble, you know, it might be $20 to some of us. And yeah, I don't know, there's a psychological factor. But Oscar, you could let us know when you do those Florida shows, and hopefully they will be good.
I think that it's all in your
What?
mind, to be honest with you.
It's not in my mind.
I
mean, it's in the numbers. It's the physical numbers. If I, you know, if I go out and do an event and I know what I've made.
Yeah, but you know, this is how I approach it. Every time I do a show, and I know when I open the booth, I'm not thinking what I did last year, what happened last year. I'm worrying about hit a number at the show. I need to make my expenses. Then after I hit the expenses, I want to make profit to pay the bills. Then after that, everything else is gravy. But if you just thinking in the now and don't compare to what you did last year,
I'm
how
I'm not thinking of the now. I can look at my entire year this year, and you know, I know what the numbers are, and you know, so it's not like if I'm going to go do another artist market, which I have 3 more left, I go with, you know, clean slate. It's showtime. You know, I'm not thinking about anything else. So, you know, but the facts, the numbers don't lie. And
I can tell you, me personally, I'm doing better than last year.
good. I'm really glad to hear that.
You know, so I don't know,
But I like to hear that. Oscar, I like to hear that too.
Yeah, when I'm worried about it, my net is down 4% right now compared to last year. That's the only thing that got me worried.
Your expenses were higher, maybe?
What?
Were your expenses higher?
Expenses are higher.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
I just replaced a 40 by 60 metal print. It used to cost me 3 months ago $800. Now it costs me $867. So that's $67 more than what it was before. And this is a change this year.
Yeah.
So things are still in aluminum prints are getting more expensive because aluminum got more expensive now also.
Yeah. I mean, look, I use gold, I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, just ear wires for earrings are like $80.
Yeah.
And gold.
Yeah. The client that I was doing the job today, he just saw his business. And one of the things that they were saying that the biggest problem this year is not that you're not making money, it's that the expenses are so high that it's making things a little harder on people. But you cannot be thinking of that. They overall think that things are going to be better next year, but people need to stop thinking like COVID years. After COVID, it's not going to be like that. They need to start thinking more.
But now we have to worry about: are we going to still have our democracy? And if we don't, all hell is going to break loose.
I just think that right now, if that happened, that will be it's next year, 24. That will be 2025 to worry about it. I think that right now, you just have to. I keep telling people just concentrate on the now and what you can control, and don't forget about everything else. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just like that's the way I'm approaching it, because if I start thinking everything else,
Well,
I
let's just
will get
say I like
depressed.
to make sure my passport's current, you know, and maybe I need to go down the street and get some fentanyl just in case. I'm joking, I'm
Well,
joking, I'm joking.
In case you have to flee the country.
Right. To where, I don't know.
Oh, I just saying that just have to keep your mind positive, and everything should, it's going to work out. There's no only other way to tell you. You know, if you know, the main thing is to have enough money to cover the bills, and then everything will take care of itself. I don't think that you know, changing things or proposing things, I think that well, we need to be worried more about getting more quality shows for everybody, but because there's not enough good shows going around. I don't think that the jury process or the award money or any of that stuff, or who gets in or doesn't get in, I think that we are fighting because we know which shows can produce money, but everybody's missing the boat. We should be trying to make the shows do better market for us to make more money, so we have more people can get into better shows, and everything will go its way down, and you don't have to, you know, if you get shows closer to your home, they are good. You don't have to travel that much. That opens to those other shows for other people to those shows. But we just, everybody apart to Winter Park, everybody applies to Fort Worth, everybody applies to Brookside, everybody applies to
Right.
Cherry Creek, everybody to St. Louis, because those are the good shows, you know.
And they're not
Everybody to
always
apply.
fruitful, even if you get in.
No,
Yeah.
I disagree with you, Oscar. I think there's a lot of shows that I think there's a lot of regional shows that people write off because it's a more of a regional show that are also good shows.
No, I got my foot. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in general, in perspective, you have to find out what shows locally work for you. There's a show that I do in here locally that I really, you know, I applied to St. Louis at Fair, but it's the same weekend in St. Louis at Fair, and I'm not going to make good money in that local show for me. So it's more, but it's not a show I recommend people to do it, because it's a tiny little show that if you don't live close, it might not be worth doing. There's a lot of shows that you can do money, and there's a lot of beach shows that you can do good money. It's just that I don't, you know, I keep hearing more and more people that if they don't make, it's getting back to this idea, they don't make $10,000 or more in a show, it's a crappy show. And
Well,
you know, but
expenses now, maybe. I mean, 10,000 used to be able to buy you a house.
I know, but you know, I until this year I never hit the $10,000 mark in any show. And I've been doing shows for 25 years and I never hit that number. And I hear people saying that they do that in the regular basis. And to me, when people say that, yes, it gives me hope, but it makes you wonder what you're doing wrong.
Well, but some of it
Because
is a price point. Oscar, I could sell one bracelet at $6,200. So, you know, it's you know, some aspect of it is a price point. I don't do a lot of volume at shows. You know, if I sell 12 pieces at a show, that's a lot for me. That's usually a pretty good show, because it would be a mix, maybe of higher and lower price points. Except for this year, 2023, definitely much more lower price points, which are not inexpensive, but it's not enough volume to make up for it. But
No,
anyway,
I don't, you know, and the other thing that is like,
Think about this, Oscar. When people start talking about, you know, they had $10,000 worth of sales. Maybe if you're a painter with big paintings that are, you know, $6,000 up, but if I sold everything I took with me to a show, I've never done $10,000. Even if I sold every single thing I took with me to a show, I probably might be able to do $10,000.
No, it's just today when I was talking to the client, it kind of reminded me. I wasn't talking about the shows, but I was talking just in general life. The comment of Kimberly came back to my head. It's kind of like forget about what other people are doing. The only thing that matters are you doing better than you did last year. If your numbers are keep going in the right direction, then you're doing something right. Don't worry about if X person makes $20,000 a show. That really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters are you improving yourself every year. If you do it better every year,
Personally,
and that's what I kept forgetting about.
I don't find it to be that. I've been doing this for now like 28 years, and I don't find it to be that consistent, like always growing. Sometimes it's stagnant, sometimes it goes down a little, sometimes, you know, it goes up. You know,
Yeah, but
it's
the problem is you have to look at it like a business, and no matter what you don't want your only if a year was ridiculous good, but you know how much you need to make every month to be in good shape. So that's what I try to do. So I don't,
and,
you know,
and
I don't
that's
want to.
why the hanging of the art is a great thing that you have in addition. You know, this
Yeah,
way you
I
can
know.
make sure you meet those, you know, and
Yeah.
like for me, I teach workshops also, and so it's good to have other things in there. I mean, that's why
Well, you
I'm
can't.
glad I
I
have.
think it's really difficult in today's world to be able to just to have one single source of income, in that shows, and do nothing else. Just do shows.
No, I agree with that. And when you say that out loud, people just eat your life. You know.
No, they don't. The people that get it don't. One of the very first podcasts was Chris Dahlquist talking about that exact same thing, is to having multiple income streams, you know, and shows being one of them, but having multiple income streams.
Right.
Yeah, but you know, I think that the people that are doing well has multiple sources of income, common way to get income. And I use, and God knows that everything that I will say this to the day that the podcast that Douglas and William done helped me a lot mentally, and it gives me ideas and things that I can work with things and you know, so I'm grateful for them, you know, but I'm I feel confident that next year I'm going to do at least what I need to make to stay afloat.
Good. Did you listen to the
know.
most recent one?
I started listening, but I found it boring, so I had to stop and go back to it later.
Oh, I love it actually. I haven't finished because
I was going. I'm sorry. I started looking. I honestly, I concluded this week, and you can tell this to Will if you want to. I'd rather Douglas do the interview.
Well, I may see Douglas. I may see Douglas tonight. I don't know.
So I tell him, if you see him, I think that he does a better job with the interview. Even
I may see him in about an hour.
Yeah.
We have an NAIA board meeting in an hour, Oscar. If he's there, I'll tell him.
Yeah.
I'll tell him I have a message from his fan club.
Oh.
He must be heading out to California soon.
Yeah, he's going to La Quinta.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is on the road.
Yeah.
I really liked this interview, and I didn't finish listening because I stopped for this. But Also,
Yeah,
Oscar, sometimes if you know someone, like the person he's interviewing, it also makes it more interesting. I
I
mean,
know, but most of the people they interview most of them, regardless who is doing it. I don't know them personally. There's been a few people they interview that I know personally that I interact with them. You know.
Mhm.
So, and it's always fun to go to a show and meet them in person and
Yes, it
see
is.
their work. So, yeah, she's been really needy, ridiculous needy. She gets mad at me. Just thought she wanted to go outside and be in the patio, and she got, because I didn't let her, she bite me.
Yeah, when Mr. Gray disappeared, I don't know where he went. He's not on his stool at the table. He's not in his toasty spot. He's not under my feet. He's not on the floor over here, so I don't know where he went.
Is it cold there, by the way?
No, not bad.
It cannot be 60 degrees in Chicago, so it cannot be that.
Wow.
Last week in Florida, I was going I went to see the manager of the park ground to get the insurance information for the trailer. And I look at her, how in the hell you guys handle 85 degrees in this humid all summer long? I go this is cruel. So I was like, yeah, I hit 100 degrees a few times. So
Gray may be out hanging out with his girlfriends from next door.
Ah.
He and the chickens next door get along okay. But the chickens love my wife because she gives them treats. So they see her coming. If they see her, they're in our yard.
Are those egg chickens?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's very nice.
We haven't gotten eggs in a while. I don't know. When it got hot, and she has a food trailer, and I know she was doing some breakfast, so I don't know if she's got many eggs or not. They have some,
and there's a time of year where they don't lay eggs, I think, also.
So
Yeah, right about now. Hey, Larry.
Yeah,
Sorry, I accidentally called you so early.
yeah, I know. That's all right. I called you back, but you didn't
I
answer.
know. I was like, I'm not in the public visible. I can't answer the phone. And I was just like stumbling up from bed.
It was
I just had the phone in my
7
hand.
o'clock Sunday morning.
I'm so sorry. It just pushed a button, and you were the lucky one.
I was up though.
Well, I'm glad, because I was mortified thinking about waking you up.
Actually, it would be really difficult for you to wake me up.
Yeah, you must not ever sleep the way you get all your work done so quickly.
You know, one thing that I'm trying to figure out how much extra prints I'm going to take with me. And it gets expensive, I have to tell you, Court. It gets really expensive really fast. It's not even funny. Yes, why you look at me like that, like you're going to bite me? Yeah, you should just lay down. I don't have to put my arm in there. You figure out how to lay down in there.
Well, personally, I like the idea of small regional shows with easy hours, but I don't know of any.
You know, the main thing is that you can make enough profit in those shows. It's the main thing. You know, the problem is sometimes. I think the biggest difference is, and it's some regional shows who you have to do more regional shows to make the same amount of money than a big show. But the question is, can you do more shows when don't worry about your inventory? Because it's different for me, but I people they need to go back to the studio and make the products again.
Right.
It will be hard, you know.
Hmm.
Because even right now I'm thinking like I need to print X amount of 12x18s, I need to print X amount of 8x10s. I
Uh-huh.
need to take all that shit with me. I need to, and because Winter Park waitlisted me, I need to bring the black and whites with me no matter what now. And I want to know if, and I don't know if I'm going to get to the show or no, and I need to carry all that stuff with me. And that's why I wanted the trailer, to be honest with you, because now I get to Florida, take the black and white pieces out of the van, put it in the upper bunker, and let it sit in there until it's time for me to the Winter Park or come home.
Yeah, you could have brought him down with you.
You know, I brought the 18x24s with me, but I didn't know exactly how to keep the camper cooler.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if it was a good idea or not. So I left the 18x24s down there, my summer clothes. Basically things that I didn't want to bring with me. And Steve Worker told me to leave, and Terry also told me leave the air conditioner really low and put charcoal in there, and hopefully that will keep the humidity out.
Oh, that's
But
good.
You know
because
what,
I don't have the room. What?
do you have a bunch of black and whites you have to print to do that show?
No, that I already have them printed. I think I might have to print more of those small ones, but I don't want to.
Honestly,
I don't want to overdo it.
if it's just the wait list, I would just consider saying, tell them no. I'm not sure that that's enough. I would take a whole separate body of work just because I'm on a wait list.
I know it.
I know. So I just got the, and I might still do no because I have the black and white work over here. That's what didn't brought it down. Because if they don't tell me something by December, I don't
Do
know
you
if
know
I
where
want
you
to.
do you know where you are on the wait list?
No, then you cannot call them. I can tell you that.
Oh, I hate
When-
that.
That's one of those shows that they
You
will
can't-
call you if you. Yeah.
Right.
Oscar, when are booth payments due?
For what? For Winter Park?
Winter
Yes.
Park.
I think end of this month. So by
You won't-
December, I should.
Yeah, you won't see really any movement on the wait list until the booth payments. About a
Yeah.
week or so after the booth payments are due.
So, but you know,
And then where does it fall in the rest of the season down in Florida? For beginning, middle,
the
end?
last and
Then you've got a good, then, you know, you have a much better chance of getting in.
yeah. So I got the room to take them down. It's just more like that I really want to do that, and I'm glad that I framed them in plexi and not in glass because then I would be really freaking out. Yeah.
All right, guys, you want to tell
Really,
me if I'm applying for any stinkers? I've got my list because these are all new to me. Lakefront, Festival Art, Milwaukee, Ann Arbor, the original show, Des Moines, Mainsail, St. Petersburg. I'm gonna try to go back to Decatur Arts in Georgia, so I'm familiar with it. Columbus Arts Festival,
Yeah,
Chain of Park.
you should apply to all 3 Ann Arbor shows.
I've heard bad things about some of them, though.
Hey, I could tell you bad things about the original show.
Maybe so.
Well, I mean, part of the show is in an area that you have to walk through a food court. Not everybody does.
I did lakefront. I've done it in the past, quite a few times, but this was the first time it was back from COVID. And they were very late with getting us information and all of that. And then in the past, I've been inside the museum. They had like maybe 40 artists inside the museum, the rest out, and I liked being in there, even though it was slower. And then the rest outside under a big tent in the past. This time, there was no inside, and then there was no outside tent. And so there were 2 long rows of artists, and then my row was this extra row facing the lake. And I mean, it was the worst show I did all year. And, you know, I try to think of, the weather was perfect. In fact, all of my shows, the weather was pretty perfect. Well, except for Old Town the second day, but I did Old Town, so it's a very good double bill because it's, you know, very close to Chicago. And so, and I saw customers from my mailing list, but my sales were dismal, and I'm not going to apply this year. I don't know what's happening with it yet. They haven't put out their call. You know, part of it though, all things being equal, the quality of the work has always been really good. And I feel like sometimes we just have to gamble on these things. Some shows it's like a simple no, but others not so much. Des Moines has always been on my list, and I've been back and forth. Should I apply? Should I not this year? And it's actually fairly close to Santa Fe, so it's, you know, not that far. But the complaints I've heard from other artists over the years is the weather. It could be triple digits easily, and if it's triple digits, people aren't going to come out. You know, I've heard, you know, there have been tornadoes. The weather is the big negative that I've heard from the show. I've heard that the crowd is very good. It's, you know, the Midwest generally is a good audience, just as a generalization. So that's why I haven't applied. It's the weather. The hours are really long, but that wouldn't stop me from applying to a show.
This is what the
I've done Des Moines a couple times, and you know, nice show, well done. Not my crowd. I won't go back, but won't go back because I didn't make the sales, not because of anything else.
Yeah.
How was the weather when you did it?
The weather, I didn't have any extremes or any issues, but you know, I live in freaking Tornado Alley. I do shows in Tornado Alley in the spring. I don't, you know,
Where do you
freak
live?
out about weather.
Right.
Where do you live?
I live in Wichita, Kansas. I do Tulsa Mayfest. Okay. And the running joke I've had with the show director for years is that if there is no storm with at least 50-mile-an-hour winds, I get my booth fee back. And she's never had to pay up yet. So, you know.
That's so stressful.
But if it's triple digits, people are not going to come out to a show.
I just assumed
that's not true.
The deep south, that it wasn't going to get that that hot. That's because I'm always in the deep south in the summer. I didn't realize it got hot anywhere else.
I mean, I've done triple digits in Salina and there were people out. I've done triple digits at Cherry Creek and people were out. You know,
So
the only thing I'm going to
if the
tell
weather
you,
was better, would there be more people out? Yes. And it does have an effect, but it doesn't, things just don't automatically shut down, but you do have to prepare for it and prepare your body for it.
yeah,
Right.
I've got Chain of Parks, Orange Beach, and Artisphere are the rest of them on there. I guess all of them are like 6 to 9 hours. There might be some that are 12 hours. I can't remember. Seems like Chicago is like 12 hours.
all those shows that you mentioned, I will apply to all of those. They're all good shows.
That's what I'm hoping.
At least a reputation. The only thing that from what I heard from people that do a lot of shows in Florida, when they come to the Midwest, they are disappointed because the sales are not as good as in Florida. So
I've not done the
keep
Florida
that in
show.
mind.
Yeah, I've only
What?
done Fairhope and Pensacola, or Fairhope's Alabama, but that's as far south as I've gone. So all of these are new to me, except for Decatur.
The Midwest could be good. They're not like such, they don't ask for discounts so much, and they don't say, oh, can you waive the tax? Or, I mean, that's generally speaking, that's my experience. And, it's a good audience overall.
But your show sales might be a little bit less than when you do shows in Florida. That's the only thing that I keep hearing. But it could be that those people that do well in Florida don't adjust their body for the Midwest. And the people that go to the Midwest don't adjust their body for Florida.
But I mean,
So-
I'm in North Alabama, so I can get to a lot of these pretty easily within a day's
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah, I would just go for it if I was you.
Hey, Oscar, what about 57th Street?
57th Street, I would not recommend it to anybody.
Oh, okay.
It's the areas is changing. I think
I thought that's Highland Park,
think-
no?
it's Hyde Park.
Hyde Park.
University of Chicago campus. It's my neighborhood, basically.
That's right. Isn't there one in Highland Park?
Yeah, that's Port Clinton, and I want to do a show with Amy Amdore anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, but Port Clinton is their best show.
Yeah, and that was one of my second best show this year, and I will not touch that show ever again. Anything with her ever again.
Got it. All right.
But I highly recommend people to do her shows. So I will just don't. I know I'm getting old, and there's some things I cannot put up anymore with. Flat out and simple.
Laura, have you looked at let's see, in Oklahoma there is Paseo, and that is Labor Day. There is I don't know what's going on with Tulsa Mayfest. I'd have a hard time recommending it.
Is the Paseo one the one that was 6 days? Now it's 4?
No.
What are you
Okay.
saying? What is the name?
Paseo.
Paseo, P what?
P-A-S-E-O.
P-A-S-O?
No,
EO.
E-O. Okay, I'll look it up.
Old
So
town,
I'm trying to find shows that I don't have a lot of dollying, and I want shows that give me at least the chance to go worship on Sunday mornings, being they start at 10 or end at 4. So
I don't know
That's
of any
not going to
show.
happen.
Wait. What show? No, most shows don't start at 9.
a lot do, but some I'm finding, I mean, I've got a large list of ones that at least give me a chance,
Gainesville, Florida.
I think
Gainesville.
every show I do does not start at 9, and I'm not a morning person.
Gainesville, the show is in the area where all the churches are.
Oh, it'd be easy to go worship then. Yeah. So I have a brother in Orlando. So if I do put together a couple weeks in Florida, I can go stay with him in between, I'm sure, if I behave myself.
Mhm.
Most of the shows in the Midwest, they let you set up the day before, just to let you know.
That's what I want to do the day before for sure.
Yeah,
I'm not doing
I don't like to do.
that where if you start at 3:30 in the morning, not working by myself the whole weekend. I can't do that.
Well,
You
a
know,
lot of the
like,
shows, a
And
lot of
just
the
look
shows
at the-
around,
Go ahead.
a lot of the shows around here setup is Friday morning and the show opens Friday evening.
I can handle that if I'm not traveling on Friday. I would just get there the day before if they give us enough time. But I'm not starting at 3:30 in the morning. I'm just not going to do that. I don't care how
Yeah.
great it is.
Yeah, that's what I don't do. That's what I avoid Howard Island shows, because most of these shows you set up in the morning of the show, and my body cannot handle it. It takes me like a Boca Raton Museum. It's one of the shows that the sections for me. But every time I do that show, I will not feel like a person again until Wednesday after the
Yeah.
show.
And typically,
And-
plan on working alone. Sometimes I'm lucky and one of my kids can go with me, but in general, I'm going to be there alone. That's just
Well,
exhausting.
Yeah. So,
well, you also, when you look at the prospectuses, look at the hours, some of those shows, the Saturday could be 12 hours, but also look to see if they have volunteers. And that makes a huge difference, so.
I think I could even get someone to go with me, when it's a cool place, a 15-year-old or somebody who can't drive well yet, they might be thrilled to go with me. I've even had 18, 20-year-olds ask if they could go with me. So that's a potential if it's got a lot of hours and one of my kids can't go.
just tell them that you're going to pay them for being there with you.
Who would be with me?
I would just tell. I will pay you to come, and I'm
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
sure they will.
Yeah, but then that's the problem. Like if I don't know if it's going to be the right show for me, then that's more, that's more money that you're promising out for the weekend. My kids, they go with me. I pay them $25 to help me set up, $25 to help me break down, and then I take them out to eat every day, once a day. And it's basically a little vacation for them. But that's different than someone else who it would be like a job for them.
But you paid them $25 to help you to set up and $25 to break down.
Yes.
Oh
But
my God.
Yeah. And a restaurant deal. Don't forget that. It's been, I have gone up.
They're your kids. You're going to have to feed them no matter what.
They're, well, I mean, yeah, they're
No,
not.
no what?
They're my baby is 18 and my oldest is 23, but they like to go with me because it's a vacation. The 25 is just,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
yeah.
I'll tell you what, Eric Mort does with his daughter, Kayla, who travels with him. He pays her a flat fee for going, like an hourly wage, but then he pays her a commission. So it's a combination of an hourly and a commission.
Yeah. I'm not real confident in my selling yet because it's like a good show, then a terrible show, good show, terrible show. So I'm trying to keep my costs down at this point. But my kids never help me work during the whole show. They just get to, relax. They can stay. I try to give us a nice place to stay. So they don't have to work. They only work at setup and breakdown.
Well, I would suggest to get them $100 for setup and $100 to help you to break down. And
Really?
You call the way.
They only
Yeah.
work like 2 hours with me each time.
Well, that's what it's worth, to be honest with you.
Well, we pay for their groceries too. They
Oh,
still live with
that's just put it this way: if you try to hire outside help, that's what you're going to spend per person.
Yeah.
But you know what? She's experimenting, and you have the kids, so you might as well.
Yeah.
You
I
might
mean,
as well exploit. You might as well exploit your own children because that's part of their job.
they started
What you
at 11. Each of them was 11 years old. They started going with me by themselves. And so it's always been just like a kind of little mini vacation for them. Only one
Oh,
gets to go.
I just keep going like that's child labor,
That's funny.
Are either of them good with people?
What?
Are either of them really good working with people?
Yeah, they are. I'll be surprised. Like I came back, my 16-year-old son, I came back, I make them sit in my seat when I run to the restroom. And he was telling them my whole art process. I was amazed at what he had observed through the years. But yeah, none of them make sales for me, but they just sit there if I run to the restroom.
But they could, to a degree, if you're talking to somebody and they could talk. People, I think they find that charming also.
Yeah. Yeah.
The family thing.
My son forges knives. I would love if he started doing that for a side gig or whatever, eventually, like he and I traveling together. That would be so much fun.
I was next to actually it's the artist I tried to flood his tent in Tulsa one year. I did flood his tent. made
He
knives.
tried to flood his tent. What does that mean? With water?
It was raining and we were against the curb and we were right next to the sewer entrance. So the
Yeah.
water was flowing and my tent sides are longer than my tent is tall. So I had my tent sides coming down and flaring out and it formed a dam. So all
Oh,
the
no.
water coming down the water started backing up in his tent.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But I will tell you what he ran into doing knives. There are some shows that don't allow them. I think he said there were actually some states where he didn't want to sell, or there was a problem selling in certain states. And he made handles out of some very exotic materials, including animals, bone. And that was also that was more of an issue than just making knives. There were states literally would not allow him to sell some of the bone handled knives that he had.
Huh.
Even though he
But
was
it's-
legally acquiring the bones and he had the paperwork to show
Yeah.
that, you know, he legally acquired it. They wouldn't, it's just against the state law to sell.
But as far as the knives themselves, I know states have different laws, but like if they're kitchen knives, I wonder if that's different than hunting knives also.
Oh, no.
For California, any knife, other than maybe the kitchen knives cannot be sold to people under 21. There's usually one or two sword dealers at Comic-Con or cosplay. And they do fantasy swords and daggers, plus ones that are actually usable for some of the SCA sparring stuff. And you have to be 21 to go into their booth.
All right, guys, my husband just got home. I'm going to go flirt with him. It's good seeing y'all.
All right, bye.
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 So that might be a issue if, he's in a state like California for that type of thing.
I think California was one of the places where he had issues with
the handle.
the handles, the bones, because he was
Oh,
buying
there was
partial skeletons from like giraffe from Africa and legally importing it, but I think California was one of the states where he couldn't sell those knives, so he just didn't do shows there.
there was a guy in Sun Valley who I think he does some sort of carved bone, and I think I can't remember what the material was, but I think he couldn't do shows. He lived in California, but he couldn't do shows there because of the material.
But he had some really, and the other problem he had was theft.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well,
He
the
actually
solution is put everything underneath something.
What he did is he took the steel fishing leaders that have the snap on the end, and he fastened those around the knives in a way that it would take you could get them off, but it would take a little bit of time to get them off.
Mhm.
And then he ran a cable along his display and clipped those to it, kind of so the cable was kind of down behind, so you could pick them up and handle them, but you couldn't walk off with them. And it was just enough to discourage, people that want to just pick it up and walk out with it.
Right.
And of course, like you, Allison, everything came out at night and, stayed with him.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
That's Michael Marion. You talking about?
I don't remember his name. It's from Georgia, I believe.
Okay, so it's not the same guy. I placed this order from Epson on Sunday. Still in process.
Well, Well, there's still supply issue problem for some places.
No,
I
no, no,
can't,
no,
no,
no.
I can't get a box of Diamond brand kosher salt. I think you're right. There is some supply issues
This is
still.
this is an excellent thing. It's like you can place the order for the inks on Monday, and they won't ship it to you until a week later, even if you're paying overnight. So
Have you
it's like,
tried,
what's the point?
Have you tried shades of paper?
Who?
Shades of paper.
No.
That's who I deal with on all my apps and stuff and all my paper.
I was thinking about ordering it from B&S Photo, and I probably have it by tomorrow. And I forgot about it because I'm so used to order from Epson. But it's kind of screwy that I order my paper, and my paper's going to arrive here before the inks.
I got to run because I got another Zoom in half an hour that I got to prep for. So
Okay. Have fun. There's another Tuesday today.
it's other Tuesday. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good
See you
one.
later tonight.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have fun.
I have
Bye.
to go feed Elvis.
Okay, guys. So I'll see you next week then.
All right.
Okay. Have a good week, everyone.
Be good.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.